Today we have boutique hotel royalty, the queen herself, Frances Kiradjian, CEO and founder of the Boutique Hotel Lifestyle Lodging Association, which has over 11,000 members and growing. Today she talks about boutique hotel financing, how to convert your franchise to a boutique hotel, keeping employee retention, and boutique OTA agreements. All this and more on today's True Hotel Leaders, where leaders teach leaders. This episode is brought to you by Hotel Guest Management, the revenue management and hotel management company for boutique hotels.
Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. It's Bruce Jordan, the MJ of the hotel industry, and thank you for tuning to another episode of True Hotel Leaders, where leaders teach leaders. And today we have Frances with us. What's going on? How you been?
Oh, I've been fantastic.
Listen, I've heard so much about what you're doing and the things and moves that you guys are making. So tell us about what got you started and how you got started in the hotel industry and where you're at today.
Absolutely. I love this industry. I've spent about the past 30 years in it in different variations of it, from travel to hospitality and some technology in between. So it was clearly in my last business that I discovered that independent hotels didn't have anybody to talk to.
Yes.
They had nowhere to go. And so I came up with the idea actually in 2003, had my first meeting with several boutique brand CEOs. And I said, this is my thought and idea. Is it needed? Is it necessary? And will you support it? And they said, absolutely.
Nice.
So in 2009, I sold my other company and I founded BLLA in 2009. That was in October. In November, I immediately went to World Travel Market in London, and I walked away with over 300 new members.
Wow.
Within 1 week. So I knew I was onto something because they had nowhere to turn to. And this was global. I got calls from hotels in Italy and different places because they were asking for my help. They knew about my past organization, which also grew up into something really great. And I'm still very proud of what I built over there in 13 years. So I knew that this was something that independent hotels needed. They needed somebody they could rely on.
Yes.
For whatever reason, whether it's finding capital, distribution, HR, it doesn't matter what it is. They don't have that ivory tower to go to that has a big department that can, answer their needs. So it was very rewarding and exciting, and it filled my own dreams because I won't say I'm anti-establishment, but I'm anti-establishment. I like independent businesses. I believe that small businesses clearly make the world go round.
That is true.
And they're unencumbered. They can basically do what they want in a heartbeat.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like that. And I think that's what the traveler is looking for. Whether it's a business traveler or a leisure traveler, especially, the pandemic has made it rise much faster, but it was clear even back then that travelers wanted something different. They unless they were collecting points or something else, or they had some other purpose, they were really looking for something that was more them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it became clear in one of our conferences. It was actually a top executive at one of the big 5 brands that I got on my camera saying this. He said, there's a little bit of boutique in all of us. And I just love that because it's just true.
I agree. It's amazing how things are changing, especially on the financial side of things. Before, a lot of banks, they were like, we're not touching boutique hotels. We're not funding boutique hotels. We're not putting our money into it. Now they're starting to look at this whole thing and revisit them maybe we have to give this a chance because we can't say that, the big guys is going to save the day all the time. So how has that worked with financing boutique hotels? What are some of the avenues that you've seen actually work in the past and that still works today?
Well, what I've seen over the past couple of years especially is the market's opening up. even institutional money, which used to be who's the brand behind it, they're starting to get a little softer because they're seeing the rise in ADRs and profitability and value of a boutique hotel versus a standard hotel, a branded hotel. So I have seen an incredible amount of investment in small boutique brands, especially, and new developments coming along. There are so many new funds being built today from global investors that want those projects. And that's why I developed Boutique Money Group a couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew that there was going to be a need. And so I closed my first deal pretty early on. And I brought in an operator who actually put money into the deal. And the project was opened last year, brand new ground up project, luxury boutique hotel. And I could see it happening.
How many rooms?
It's got about 150.
Oh, no, that's a nice number.
That's a nice number. And it's it's got retail, and it's in Indiana.
Okay.
And the owner is, her mother was a famous designer. So I'm very, very proud of doing that. And that's when I knew things are opening up. This is the time for boutique hotels. And there's, especially during the pandemic again, I hate to mention that again, but there are a lot of properties that are looking at, who am I? What am I doing? Do I go independent? Can I go independent? Can I get out of the contract? Is this who I am?
Yeah.
Is this the authentic me? Am I delivering what my customers really want? Or am I not? Because, I'm kind of stymied to be able to move forward with the things I really want to do with the property. So, there's something for everybody. And, I think investors have just really opened up. And they're more willing. They're not only more willing, but they're doing it. All these brands are getting hundreds of millions of dollars. Citizen M got $1 billion.
Oh, wow.
$1 billion.
Wow.
So, yes. So there's all kinds of iterations of boutique brands. Some have a dotted line connection to the big brands. And, we're kind of analyzing all those properties as well. But, your original question about, are the markets opening up? Yes.
Speaking of what you're talking about, one thing that I wanted to touch on is the liquidated damages in the contracts.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you've seen that like they were actually able to get out of the contract and didn't have to worry about paying $1 billion in liquidated damages and all the other stuff? Because I feel like a lot of people, they want to go boutique, especially after the pandemic. They seen what happened to them with the franchise, and they're like, I could just do this myself.
Well, it's true.
So
the fees were so high, and during the pandemic, they couldn't charge those fees. So I think that the brands were more lenient in some way. Of course, they're still having to stick with their guns and their attorneys. I would say if you have a really good attorney that is used to working, getting people out of a franchise agreement and knows the ins and the outs and can be a really good negotiator, because you don't want to hurt them, but you do want to move forward. And, the last 2 years is the time.
Yes.
Will that still be here in 6 months or a year? Maybe not. Maybe it'll get stricter again. But I think if you were thinking about it, there's a whole ecosystem starting with BLLA that can help you along the way, can give you that playbook of what do you need to do? What's the tech stack look like? How about capital? How do I make these changes?
Listen, I can't believe some of the things that I've seen, because I've been on both sides of the fence. I've managed boutique hotels and I manage franchise hotels. So, being on both sides of the fence, not having that $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 franchise invoice that you have to pay every month makes a big difference.
Can you sleep more? Can you sleep a little easier?
Yeah, because a lot of the hotel owners that I've met, and they said, I'm done with the franchises, I'm going to boutiques. They was like, I could actually pay my employees more,
right?
And don't have to worry about them leaving. He was saying that a lot of the hotels that I had that were franchised, they were gone.
Yes.
But my boutique hotels, they get paid more. So even when the pandemic hit, they wasn't going anywhere.
That's right. A lot of hotels that were typically, run, the budget brands, a lot of their children are now inheriting their properties. And whenever I run into them at a conference, they're like, I want to switch this property to boutique, or any properties that we build from here forward are 100% going to be boutique.
Okay.
So the next generation, I think, are really into making that happen. You know, I think they want the leniency to be able to design, you know, the experiences, the property, the interiors, you know, just the whole profile of their property. They don't want the restrictions that their parents had.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember it was like something as simple as the soap. It took like a year to get changed, and the soap was terrible. I'm like, "Ooh, this is a man soap. Why am I trying to push these soaps?"
It should be super easy, right?
But man, I swear. So what do you see for the future of boutique hotels? Like, where do you see?
I see it growing and becoming mainstream, and like it is in Europe, you know, you don't see as many branded hotels over there, just because there's an abundance of independent boutique owners that are no way going to switch to a brand, just because, you know, maybe it's been brought up through generations, but there's thousands and thousands of properties, which is why we haven't announced this yet, but we are opening an office in Paris, and it will be our European headquarters.
Okay.
And we already have a lot of members there, but we need to have, you know, the presence there. So I just think it's going to grow and grow. And I think the boutique brands that have already started and have some capital infusion coming on now, those are going to continue to grow. So as they open up new hotels, there's going to be more investors that see their experience, that see that it is profitable, and the independents, they do have some little bit of a formula in that they know how to save money, and they know how to negotiate with like the OTAs, and they know how to do certain things that can save dollars, but the independent side of it still stays intact.
Why is the agreements with the OTAs so much higher with an independent boutique hotel than it is with the franchise hotels?
I'll tell you why. Because they can. Because they can. It's a sad scenario. And it, you know, honestly, it is a little bit of greed.
I thought it was illegal.
You know what? I would say it's a lot of greed. And that's something we're working on, actually. So we're hoping to announce something soon with.
Because that's discrimination. Like, you're going to give the Hilton, 11%, but because I'm independent, I'm 15, 20%. Like, that is not right.
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not right. And that's why you see, especially independent boutique hotels are working on their direct distribution. It's huge for them. You know, their digital assets and where they're marketing themselves and who they're participating in. You know, they want to drive that direct traffic because then they own their client as well.
That's right.
You know, the OTAs kind of own the client before. I remember back in the old day, I remember hotels saying when something that was booked through, you know, one of the big OTAs, they put the client in the furthest room. This was years ago.
I remember.
Okay?
I used to do that. I'm going to admit it. I'm going on record. I used to do that.
Because
I don't do it anymore, but I used to do that.
Because you knew you were giving away a large sum of money, honestly. And the people that booked direct were your true client. They came to you directly, and you own them. You have their email up front. You can greet them. You know, you can do all those things and take really good care because they'll probably come back to you.
Man. Listen, tell everybody how they get in touch with you.
They can get in touch with us at our main site, BLLA.org. And you can email info@BLLA.org. Additionally, we have 5 websites: BLLA.org, stay-boutique.com, BLLAevents.com, boutiquemoneygroup.com, and TIEWN.com, which is a group of 13,000 women in travel, tourism, and hospitality. And on each of those websites, there is a little chat button. You can also chat our team, and we'll get back to you even quicker.
Fantastic. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of True Hotel Leaders, where leaders teach leaders, and we're signing out.